Many years ago, I was living in an ancient monastery in Hungary. During those days, that nation, as so many others in that region, was under Soviet occupation and was very much a police state. One of the things I found most difficult to become accustomed to was that I could never carry on a conversation without the suspicion that I was being listened to. As soon as I arrived there, I was warned never to carry on a sensitive conversation by telephone because all my phone conversations would be listened to. I tried to carry on conversations inside my room, but the old priests shook their heads and warned me, "Don't speak. All the rooms, all the walls are bugged. If you want to have a serious talk with someone, take a walk together in the woods, and maybe there you can speak openly." I was horrified. For the first time in my life, I realized the tremendous and sometimes frightening power there is in listening. I didn't welcome it at that point. Listening is a tool that can be used for the bad or for the good. Secretary of State Dean Rusk used to say, "One of the best ways to persuade others is with your ears, by listening to them." These days, listening has become almost a lost art. We are so wrapped up in visual things that we neglect our powers of hearing, and listening skills get almost no exercise at all. Television has brought many wonderful things, but we have come to rely on our power of sight so much that both our sense of listening and our power of imagination have become underdeveloped. How different it was in the old days of the great radio shows. In my student days in Rome, many years ago, we loved to listen to the worthwhile speakers of the day. Those were the years following the Second Vatican Council, when the Church was filled with powerful intellectual and spiritual lights. One in particular impressed us enormously. A brilliant man, he was an outstanding biblical scholar who spoke 11 languages fluently, had been rector of the Pontifical Biblical Institute and of the Gregorian University in Rome, and who was to become the Cardinal Archbishop of Milan. His name was Cardinal Carlo Martini. Cardinal Martini was a man of tremendous learning, but he was also a man of tremendous wisdom and humility, a man of prayer and great holiness. It was all because he was a listener. He opened his ears to the Word of God, and with his wisdom and humility was able to understand that word as very few have. But he was always willing to listen to his fellow human beings as well, and so was a man of great compassion and understanding. He heard the call of Christ, "Ephata," be opened. Open your ears, open your mind, open your heart. We loved listening to him defending the rights of the marginalized of church and society. He listened, and so he understood. And so he was able to open the ears and the hearts of others. Ephata, be opened. Here was a man open to the voice of God, open to the voice of the people of God. For decades, he was a progressive voice of wisdom and holiness, constantly calling the church to open its ears that it might hear, to open its mind that it might think, to open its heart that it might serve. When he died a few years ago, over 200,000 people filed past his casket, while 20,000 mourners packed the Milan Cathedral for the funeral mass. Catholics, non-Catholic Christians, many Muslims, and many Jews. For to all he was the understanding, listening shepherd, whose ears and heart had been opened by God. Just before his death, he gave a final interview, and with his last words, published the day after his death, he left us his legacy of opening our ears and hearts. The church, he said, is tired. Look around and you see our buildings are huge and empty. Our rites and our manner of dress, pompous. We are 200 years behind the times. It is time to begin a radical change in the church, beginning with the Pope and bishops. We are being called to transformation in the love of Christ. It can be so discouraging to look around and see ash, dead ash, all around in the church and in the world. But take heart, because under that dead ash are always embers that are still glowing, embers waiting to set the world on fire with love. What do we have to do? Find those embers, find those heroes, and don't just look within the confines of the institutional church. Those embers, those heroes are still out there. We must seek them out. We must find individuals with the faith of the Roman centurion, the enthusiasm of a John the Baptist, the faithfulness of a Mary Magdalene, the generosity of a Good Samaritan, someone not afraid to try new things. The Word of God is very simple and seeks out as its companion a heart that listens. Let our hearts be open to be transformed. Let our ears be opened to listen. Let our eyes be opened to see under the ash those glowing embers, that they may set the world on fire with love. Ephata, be opened, be transformed, be a heart that listens, that you may be a heart that loves.